All right, guys, I got another great hand from the Triton high stakes cash game, and I want to go through it with you together and analyze what's going on there. So yeah, we are again playing 500 1000 with an ante of 1000, and we see already Elton went for a straddle here. He will not play a big role in that hand though, but he starts the action. So now we see a Vladi with an open raise here, and he decides to actually go 3.5x. It's again, they use very large sizes, so relatively the ante is now a little lower, but yeah, it's like 3.5x is very, very big, while effectively we can see the straddle as like a new big blind, which means Vladi and Will, who called in the cutoff with pocket nines here, are effectively just playing 45 big blinds, right? So if we see the straddle 2k as the big blind, they both have 90k stacks more or less. They play 45 big blind hand, which changes the whole structure of the hand here. So again, we could think about how should Will's calling range look like here against this large open raise sizing. I would like to stay very, very aggressive there, and the calling range will be very, very centered around something like that just doesn't want to 3-bet get in, but is just very strong. Like something like pocket nines, pocket eights, maybe even pocket tens, maybe some suited broadways. This should be his range. No clue which player type Will is, so maybe he's way looser than that. Would be interesting to have a little look in what Vladi knows about him, but we cannot know for now. Let's take a flop. Elton obviously calling in the straddle with such a beauty of a hand. Now let's see what we are getting to think about flop play then. The flop is 7-6 deuce, which now is very, very interesting, just especially for Vladi and Will. If we were deeper, like 100 real big blinds or 100 straddles in that case, I think Vladi is forced to check almost entire range, because Will can have pocket sixes, can have pocket sevens, and this is just relative to his tight range. It's just like so many nuts that Vladi shouldn't go crazy. But here we are only 45 big blinds deep. So this is good enough that he can easily stack off any overpair that would hate to stack off 400 big blinds. So here I think it's very, very possible for Vladi to keep the aggression high. And now it's just a decision about what sizing to take. And this depends a lot on, well, Will's range here. Is he having lots of broadways? Then actually a smallish sizing is fine. You want to get called by some speculative ace queens that want to see a turn, by some ace jack offsuits with a jack of clubs, by some king queen of hearts when you have Vladi's hand here. Or do you say like, okay, he's more sitting on the pockets that you need to put pressure on. You want to get the money in the middle with something like tens, jacks, queens, kings, aces here before there's more happening, when you know Will has like pocket eights, pocket nines, maybe even pocket tens. So that's kind of the stretch, or like the decision point for him here. I guess the wider Will's range is, the more I like a smaller bet, and the tighter it is, the more I like a bigger bet with the option of actually jamming some turns with his specific hand. Because yeah, if Will flop the set, we need to accept it. But if not, we clearly have 6 outs and the backdoor clubs, while having that blocker against club draws. It's just a very, very strong hand to go with. And yeah, let's see what Vladi decides to do here. And he actually goes for like kind of a larger sizing, like 11,000 is about half pot, which for out of position here is a little on the larger side. I think he could go even bigger. He could go smaller as well. I think it's kind of a trade-off that fits everything. And obviously the pocket nines, especially with a club, have an easy call here in position and see what the next cards bring. And this should be one of the most interesting cards, just because it improves both hands in a way, right? Will having the club as well, Vladi now having the nut draw while still having those 2 overcards. Yeah, we see it's still a 30-70 situation, and we see that Vladi decides to keep betting. Now, I would love to know, and let me know in the comments, everyone, like, how would you play your overpairs? Because this is, I think, what Vladi is mainly representing in this pot. We're just playing for 45 big blinds. It's not about just the nut flushes. It's way more about how do you keep playing with your pocket queens, with your pocket kings, with your pocket aces. Let me know how you would play those overpairs with a club and without a club. I'm super interested in that. And yeah, this is, I guess, what your ace king with the ace of clubs is the correct addition to, right? In my eyes, how I understand poker, the bluffs are always an addition to our value hands. So if I see my hand here, first thought I'm having is how am I playing pocket kings and pocket aces if I have a club and if I don't have a club? This is what I want to know from you. And Vladi apparently decides to size down to bet 17 into 45, so less than half pot now, sizing a little down, attacking exactly hands like Will's if they didn't have a club. So what should Will do with pocket eights, pocket nines now without a club? He might be drawing dead. He knows he has lots of equity against him. Yeah, maybe everything that is bluffing probably still has the clubs to go for it. So it's like a tough decision. I think the nines with the club are not really a decision, just too good of a price, too much equity. It will be tough on the river, but yeah, being in position helps a lot. So I expect nothing but a call here. And now we see the 8 river. And we have a situation where we have 80k in the middle and have a 3/4 pot bet left. We have a couple of options here actually. Again, how would you play your kings and aces with and without a club? If you played it the same way on the turn, what is your play here now? I think it's very, very interesting. And obviously you have the option, as you always have with your blocker, to just go all the way. I actually think that block betting makes a lot of sense. And I think that jamming is fine. It's just easy to really overdo it here because you have ace king and ace queen, all offsuit combos, all with the ace or the king or the queen in clubs. So it's very, very easy to overbluff in those situations. And to evaluate that 8 on the river, it actually smashes Will's range. We see he has pocket 9s. He could, in exactly the same way, have pocket 8s. So I think it's way better to have like a 5 or a 4 on the river. I don't think that 9-10 is a factor ever here. So yeah, I think this is very, very interesting for Vladi. On the one side, taking the right sizings and lines to have good bluffs because his hand kind of cries for being a nice bluff, but at the same time not going too crazy. And yeah, let's see what he decides to do. And he decides to go for the check. Okay, so he decided to give up here anyway. I'm not sure whether it was the 8 that scared him off. He just didn't find the folding range he's looking for, maybe. Didn't want to pull a trigger against someone who might sit there with the sets and flushes already, even though he's blocking the nut flushes. Yeah, it's just like, if you think about bluffing here for a big size, you always want to know what is villain folding. And yeah, he has pocket 9s right now, but we don't even know whether he's folding those. He's blocking 9-10, which is relevant because Vladi could bluff it. He is having a club. He knows he's unblocking all the offsuit broadways there. So yeah, we're not even folding any snap folds, so I don't mind giving up, even though he has the ace of clubs there. And now it's very, very interesting from Will's perspective as well. Because what is Vladi having here? What is he having? And what actually is Will's range? What is he flatting there with? He has suited broadways, which, well, against a half pot bet, he's probably not even floating like king jack of hearts 3-way here. So yeah, he has like clubs, he has sets, he has pocket 8s, pocket 9s, maybe pocket 10s. I don't know, maybe he's way looser than that, but against the 3.5x open from the hijack, I'm not sure. And now this is very, very interesting because actually I think he ends up with, besides maybe ace queen offsuit with the ace or queen of clubs, he ends up on the river with one of the worst hands in his range if he plays a reasonable tight cash game range, which might be totally off. 4-5 got there, even 9-10, not sure whether those are a factor really. And now we see this here. And I think Nanonoko, Randy Liu, who was commentating, was like, it's the correct thin value bet here, where I have no clue what that bet is. I could actually see bluff jamming those pocket nines, just saying I'm pretty much bottom of my range here, against what is Vladi doing with a king jack or with a pocket queens. It's like, I don't know. I don't find a single bluff in Will's range, so you need to turn something into a bluff. I don't think that this 30k, like what is it, 35% pot or so, 35-40%, that this is really meant as a bluff, and rather some I value bet against, I don't know, a7 or 8-9 suited, or I don't know. It's just, it's special. I don't understand it at all. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Was Will trying to get value out of ace king or an 8 or a 7 or a 6? Or was he actually playing a tight range pre-flop to start with and realized this is on the bottom of his range and he should start bluffing this, but didn't want to choose the large sizings? So yeah, lots of things I asked you for, but such an interesting hand with so many decision points. And yeah, we see Vladi folding and nothing happening anymore. Will taking down the pot. But yeah, something to learn from a lot, where I would love to have a deep look into their brains, what their thoughts were, discuss it through their know Vladi's sizing plan, know his river thoughts, what he does here, and then obviously Will's river thoughts. Yeah, incredibly interesting.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support the channel and stay always up to date, then leave a subscribe here or check out our next video.